Good morning, Yorkshire Classic Cars Ltd fans, and welcome to another overcast day, nearly sunny day in Retford. Excuse me. I will first apologise, as this is just a workshop update. I will first apologise that I haven't really done a lot for the last week, so I've had a bit of a family thing going on, so I've been having to shoot in and out of the workshop, so I haven't been working full time. Some days I'm here, some days I'm not, but I'm rushing back and forth to see a family member. So I'm not going into personal details, but that's unfortunately the nature of the beast at the moment. So I thought I would show you one of the latest cars, the beautiful Stag that I've been working on over the last. It should have really only been in for a few days, but because I've not been in doing full days this last week, and I've unfortunately had to do it over a longer period of time. The owner's all right with that. I am obviously still on with the Anglia. I can't remember if I showed you the rear repair there. Still needs grinding back and painting. But as soon as this car's out of the workshop, that will be completed. The car will be completed. That part will be completed, and then I'll move on to the next section. The car I'm going to show you is the beautiful maroon Stag. Now, if you've ever looked at my website or on my Google page, my homepage on Google, you'll have seen this car before. It's a customer that comes in quite a lot. The car is not a standard Stag by any means. It looks standard, but there are a few non-standard items. But I've got to say, I think it really does suit it, and it looks great. So, well, I could leave it open for the comments really, but I will tell you what we've done to it over the years. Obviously not just this time, but it has been lowered. It's only a very light lowering job, and it's had uprated KYB shocks fitted to it, non-adjustables, and I fully polybushed the car with Super Pro polybushes. Not sponsored by Super Pro, I hasten to point out. This car drives incredibly well. In fact, it's probably one of the best handling and driving Stags I've ever had any experience of driving, and I've driven a lot of Stags. I can't remember where he got the suspension package from. It was from another Stag supplier, but it does work really well. Whatever they recommended, it works great. And with the slightly uprated polybushes, when I say slightly uprated, obviously polybushes are a good uprate, but they last a lot longer, but they're not a lot harder. You know, the shear hardness is pretty much the same, but it just drives great. Out on the road, it's much sportier feeling car. Now, of course, that's horses for courses. If you're bobbing to a few shows, or if you're doing a lot of motorway miles, or if you're driving predominantly on straight roads, then obviously that won't bother you. But this car is driven a lot. It's dusty at the moment, but you know, it has a few teeny tiny little marks on it and stuff, and that's because he only uses it whenever he can. It's not a show car by any means on his behalf, if you know what I mean. So he doesn't just use it for shows. The colour, it doesn't look, I'm just watching it through my screen here, and it looks a kind of coppery orange colour. It is, in fact, a lovely pearlescent metallic maroon. I'm hoping you can get more of an angle on it and see what colour it actually is. It's reflecting all the other vehicles around the workshop, so it's making it look different colours. It's actually a lovely Toyota Prius colour. I'm not a massive fan of Toyota Prius if you're in America. But this colour, I think, absolutely pops on the Stag. It really, really does look nice. So it's got the big bore exhaust tailpipe on it. It sounds lovely, obviously. We've done, over the years, he's had a header tank conversion. He's had an external water pump conversion, so the one using the Ford V6 water pump. So you can see there also that the alternator is relocated, as does with because the S6 water pump ends up under here, under the power steering pump where the alternator normally lives. It keeps lovely and cool. I've changed the cylinder heads and head gaskets on this car. The head gasket went, and the heads were beyond repairing, really. They've been skinned so heavily in the past. The owner's talked to me about putting a Dodge Charger Hellcat engine in it if this engine ever goes, which I'm not going to lie, I'd love to see, to be quite honest with you. Also, one of the jobs I've done this time, LED headlight upgrade and new backing bowls. Some people love them, some people loathe them. He did have the ones with the indicators in and stuff before, but he's gone back to these that look a little bit more traditional, but they have the DRLs and stuff in, which I quite like. So I switched them on there so you can see the DRLs. They're very bright. They just leave a line across the light. It actually looks a lot nicer in real life. It kind of degrades the image a little bit on here, but they look really cool, I think. I prefer these to the ones he fitted originally. He fitted the ones originally himself, but it came in for a couple of little sort of jobs doing, so he asked me just to bob those in while I was here and adjust the headlights, but the adjusters were sort of shot, so we've changed those. It came in with an electrical issue. So the battery posts had burnt off because the wiring down there chafed through on something and caused a direct short under the water bottle there. So it had chafed through and managed to short out. It wasn't a massive short, but obviously it took most of the wiring loom down this inner wing with it. So what I've done is I've made him a new battery lead there, new negative battery lead, and I've also double lined it. So I've lined it with the, obviously the ends are heat shrinked, as you can see. I've soldered on the battery terminals rather than use the little screws. And I've put the heat protection over the top, more really to protect from chafing and rubbing. And I've added some extra clips and stuff like that. And there is extra wiring down here because the loom wiring goes right round the back of the engine from where it was originally from the alternator. But luckily that wasn't particularly damaged. So you can see down there that I've extra terminated it and stuff and made sure everything's routed well away from it rubbing on against anything ever again. I also found that the brake fluid was looking a little discoloured, so I suggested to him it might be worth just doing a flush through the brake fluid and a rebleed, and the brakes now feel really, really good on it. You'll be very, very surprised how much difference it makes when you flush and bleed the brakes. It makes a huge difference to the pedal feel, even if they're not that bad. I mean, these were actually, it was quite bad. There was quite a lot of muck and sort of rust appearing in the bottom of the brake reservoir. However, I have done them that were where the brake fluid had clearly been in a lot of years, because if you're not having the car MOT, the MOT man won't suggest to you that it's due changing that. So one of the other jobs I've done on this for him is kind of a half a service, but a full sort of check round the car and try and check everything. Some things you can't see, so things like the steering rack, check for play and stuff. But I've checked it all out, and it all checks out okay. The front wheel bearings, I've taken up a notch on the nut, purely because there was a little bit of excessive play in there, but nothing over major. People worry about excessive play in front wheel bearings, and I'm not going to lie, they don't seize up with excessive play, and they'll just keep going forever. So I'm always a little bit dubious about taking them up, but I did. I've done them as per the manual, so they should be fine. Cleaned them out, repacked them all with grease, and inspected the outer racers, and they were absolutely fine. So all the brake lines, everything are fine. The brakes are working lovely. So yeah, she's all good to go. I mean, he does push her along. As I say, this is not a show queen. It gets used. It gets driven like a normal car. I'll tell you what other upgrade it's had, which is an absolutely fab upgrade. It's got the ZF gearbox upgrade. And again, I can't remember who it is who supplies that. I'm sure somebody will know and somebody will probably comment. But it is an absolutely fab upgrade for any Stag. If you A, want to drive it, and B, can afford it, the ZF gearbox is it's silky smooth. And I appreciate that isn't even a modern gearbox by modern terms, but compared to a Borg Warner 35s, are great, strong gearboxes, but they are very, very old, and they are very, very agricultural. So when they change gear, it feels like somebody's sort of slotted you up the back with a shovel. This gearbox is super smooth. It's into top gear by about sort of 15 miles an hour, and it just waffles along, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I can't fault it at all. Actually, it's a brilliant conversion. So yeah, that's the Stag I've been on with. As I say, not a lot else has changed in the workshop, unfortunately, but that's just purely because I'm racing backwards and forwards to hospitals and things. So I'm fine, obviously. It's just it's just important. So yeah, sorry for the lack of content, but that's what I have been up to in the background amongst doing other things. And I will have another Anglia video soon and other stuff as well. I'm going to chase up the bonnet, but obviously I haven't chased the bonnet up for the Spitfire because I haven't been here to collect it. So I have been here, but not for a long enough time. I've been in and out. So yeah, I love this Stag. I really, really think it's a really pretty, really nice driving Stag. It's one of my favourite cars that comes in here. So, and it's, I think, probably because it's one of the first cars that did ever come in here. So, yeah, hold a soft spot for it. So, thanks for watching. Oops, you've fallen off again. Thanks for watching. If you haven't considered it already, please like and subscribe. I appreciate all the subscriptions and everything. It's going really well for me. So, thanks very much. Cheers. Bye-bye.